There comes a moment in a man's life when he realizes no one is coming to save him. Not his friends, not the world, not luck, not even time. And the longer he waits, the more his life falls apart. That truth hurts. But it also changes everything. Because the day a man stops waiting for rescue is the day he starts becoming powerful. Most men spend years hoping something will change. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect opportunity. They wait for someone to believe in them. They wait for life to become easier. But life does not work that way. Bills keep coming. Responsibilities keep growing. People keep depending on you. And time keeps moving, whether you are ready or not. Nobody sees the pressure inside a man, the sleepless nights, the silent anxiety, the fear of failing the people he loves, the exhaustion he hides behind a calm face. Most men suffer quietly, not because they want to, but because they feel they have no choice. And slowly, many begin to break. Not all at once, but piece by piece. They lose discipline. They lose confidence. They lose belief in themselves. And the dangerous part is this. They keep waiting for someone else to pull them out of the darkness. But nobody can live your life for you. Nobody can build your future for you. Nobody can wake up with your responsibilities and carry your pain for you. At some point, a man must face himself in silence and decide, am I going to keep waiting? Or am I finally going to save myself? Because strength is not built when life becomes easy. Strength is built the moment a man decides, even if nobody helps him, he will still stand up. Even if nobody believes in him, he will still work. Even if nobody notices his struggle, he will still keep moving forward. And honestly, that is where real masculinity begins. One of the hardest truths a man will ever learn is that the world keeps moving even when he is falling apart. You can be exhausted. You can be heartbroken. You can feel completely lost inside. But the bills still arrive. Your responsibilities still wait for you in the morning. And the people depending on you still need you to be strong. That is the reality most men are never prepared for. When you are younger, you believe life will eventually slow down and give you time to recover. But adulthood teaches a different lesson. Nobody pauses their expectations because you are tired. Nobody carries your responsibilities because you feel overwhelmed. And most people are too busy fighting their own battles to notice yours. That is not cruelty. That is life. And the moment a man accepts this truth, he becomes mentally stronger than most people around him. Because weak men spend years asking, why is this happening to me? Strong men eventually ask, what must I do now? There is a huge difference between those two mindsets. One keeps you trapped in pain. The other pushes you toward action. Every strong man you admire has suffered silently at some point. Some lost money. Some lost relationships. Some lost confidence in themselves. Some fought depression without telling anyone. But the men who changed their lives were not the men with the easiest lives. They were the men who kept moving while carrying pain. That is real strength. Not pretending you never hurt, not acting emotionless, but waking up every day and continuing anyway. A man becomes dangerous when he stops expecting life to be fair. Because once you stop waiting for fairness, you start building resilience. And resilience changes everything. It gives you emotional control. It gives you discipline. It gives you endurance when other people quit. The truth is, pain can destroy a man, or it can build one. The difference depends on what he chooses to do after suffering. Some men use pain as an excuse to stay weak. Others use pain as fuel. And the men who rise in life usually have one thing in common. They stopped asking the world to feel sorry for them. Instead, they quietly became stronger. Because deep down they understood something powerful. The world may not stop for your pain, but your future can still change if you refuse to stop moving. Many men waste years of their lives waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for someone to finally believe in them. But while they wait, life keeps moving, and slowly, without realizing it, they become weaker. Because waiting creates dependence. A man who keeps waiting for permission will never feel powerful. A man who keeps waiting for support will never fully trust himself. That is why so many men feel stuck, not because they are incapable, but because they train themselves to hesitate. They overthink, they delay, they keep saying, "I'll start tomorrow," but tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and one day they wake up full of regret. Strong men understand something different. They know action creates confidence, not the other way around. You do not become fearless before you begin. You become stronger because you begin. That first step matters more than perfect conditions, because no man ever changes his life by waiting comfortably. Growth starts when a man gets tired of his own excuses, when he decides, no one is coming, so I must become the person I needed. That mindset changes everything. It changes the way you work, the way you think, the way you carry yourself. You stop looking around for rescue, and you start building discipline. That is the moment a man slowly takes control of his life again. Not in one dramatic night, but in small decisions repeated every day. And honestly, most men stay weak because waiting feels safer than trying. But the men who win in life eventually understand this truth. Nobody is going to hand you your future. You must build it yourself. Most men think they need motivation to change their lives, but motivation is unreliable. Some days you feel inspired. Other days you feel empty. Some mornings you feel powerful. Other mornings you feel broken. If a man only works when he feels motivated, he will never become consistent. And without consistency, nothing changes. That is why discipline matters more than emotion. Discipline is what carries a man when motivation disappears. It is waking up when you do not feel like it. It is continuing when nobody notices your effort. It is staying focused while your mind is full of doubt. Real discipline is not loud. It is quiet. It is the man who keeps improving while nobody is watching. The truth is, most successful men are not more talented than everyone else. They simply learned how to keep going when life became difficult. They trained themselves to act instead of complain, because complaining changes nothing. Action changes everything. A disciplined man understands that small habits create massive results over time. One workout, one video uploaded, 1 hour of learning, one promise kept to yourself. At first, those actions feel small, but repeated every day, they slowly rebuild a man's confidence. That is the part many people misunderstand. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. It is proving to yourself, I can trust my own actions. And when a man begins trusting himself again, his entire life starts changing. He walks differently. He thinks differently. He stops seeing himself as weak, because deep inside he knows, even on hard days, he will still move forward. That is real power. Not talking big, not showing off strength online, not pretending to be alpha. Real power is controlling yourself when life becomes heavy. And honestly, The men who transform their lives are usually the men who stop searching for shortcuts and start building discipline in silence. A man can lie to the world, but he cannot lie to the people who depend on him. Because family does not feel your intentions. They feel your actions. Your children do not remember how many excuses you made. They remember whether you were present, whether you kept fighting, whether you stayed strong when life became difficult. That is what truly leaves an impact. Many men say, "I'm trying," but trying without action changes nothing. A family cannot build stability on promises alone. They need consistency. They need effort. They need a man who refuses to disappear when pressure arrives. And no, that does not mean you must be perfect. No man is perfect. You will fail sometimes. You will feel exhausted. You will make mistakes. But mature men understand something important. Responsibility does not disappear just because life feels unfair. Real masculinity is not about looking strong. It is about staying dependable. It is about getting back up even when nobody claps for you. Some men spend years blaming their childhood, their past, their bad luck, their circumstances. And while they keep blaming, their life stays the same. Strong men eventually stop asking who failed me and start asking, what can I do now for the people I love? That mindset changes a man completely. Because when a man finally accepts responsibility for his life, he stops becoming a victim of it. And honestly, your family does not need a superhero. They do not need perfection. They do not need endless words. They need a man who keeps showing up. A man who works even when tired. A man who stays even when life becomes painful. A man who does not run every time things get heavy. Because in the end, love is not proven by words. It is proven by responsibility. Not every battle needs an audience. One of the biggest mistakes many men make is talking too much about what they are going to do. They announce their plans. They explain their goals. They seek validation before results even exist. And slowly, they become addicted to attention instead of progress. Strong men move differently. They work quietly. They understand that real growth happens in silence, in lonely mornings, in difficult nights, in moments where nobody sees the effort, because the strongest transformations are usually invisible at first. A man does not suddenly become disciplined overnight. He builds himself one decision at a time. He wakes up earlier. He controls his emotions better. He becomes more focused, more patient, more responsible. And most people never notice the struggle behind that transformation. They only notice the results later. That is why silence is powerful. Silence protects your focus. Silence protects your energy. Silence keeps you away from unnecessary opinions. Not everyone deserves access to your plans. Some people secretly enjoy seeing you fail. Some people doubt you before you even begin. And some people will drain your motivation with negativity. That is why mature men stop talking so much. They stop trying to convince everybody. Instead, they let discipline speak for them. There is something powerful about a man who quietly improves his life. No attention, no excuses, no drama. Just work, day after day, step after step. Because deep down he understands this truth. Results speak louder than promises ever will. And honestly, a man becomes truly dangerous when he no longer needs validation from the world. He no longer works for applause. He no longer chases approval. He no longer explains every move he makes. He simply focuses on becoming stronger, silently, patiently, relentlessly. And over time, that quiet discipline builds a life most people only dream about. Maybe your entire life, you were waiting for someone to save you, someone to guide you, someone to believe in you, someone to finally give you the strength you never felt inside yourself. But after all the disappointment, all the struggle, all the lonely nights, you finally realize something painful. Nobody is coming. And strangely, that realization is not the end of your story. It is the beginning. Because the moment a man stops waiting for rescue, he starts rebuilding himself. He stops blaming the world. He stops feeling sorry for himself. He stops expecting life to become easier. Instead, he becomes stronger. Not all at once, but little by little, through discipline, through pain, through responsibility, through silent effort nobody claps for. And one day, he looks in the mirror and barely recognizes himself. Not because life became perfect, but because he became tougher, calmer, more focused, more resilient. He became the man he once needed during his darkest moments. That is the transformation most men never talk about. Real strength is not born from comfort. It is born the moment a man decides, I will not abandon myself anymore. Even if nobody supports him, he keeps moving. Even if nobody notices his struggle, he keeps building. Even if life becomes heavy, he refuses to break. Because deep down, he finally understands. The person he was waiting for was always himself. And honestly, that is when a man becomes unstoppable. At the end of the day, life becomes very simple. You either keep waiting or you start becoming the man your future depends on. Because nobody is coming to carry your pain for you. Nobody is coming to fix your habits. Nobody is coming to build your discipline. Nobody is coming to fight your battles every day. That responsibility belongs to you. And yes, sometimes that truth feels heavy, but it is also freeing. Because the moment you stop depending on rescue, you finally take your power back. You stop living like a victim. You stop wasting years complaining. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. Instead, you begin moving forward with purpose. One step at a time, one habit at a time, one difficult day at a time, and slowly, your entire life changes. Not because luck suddenly found you, but because you finally decided, I will no longer abandon myself. That decision can change everything. A stronger body, a clearer mind, a calmer soul, a better future for the people you love. All of it begins the moment a man takes responsibility for his own life. So if you are struggling right now, if you feel lost, if life feels heavier than ever, do not wait for somebody to save you. Stand up, even if it is slow, even if it hurts, even if nobody notices your effort yet. Keep building yourself in silence, because one day, people will look at your life and call you strong, but they will never fully understand the battles you fought alone to become that man. And honestly, that silent strength is what separates boys from men. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to Life Lessons Daily for more powerful lessons about discipline, resilience, masculinity, and building a stronger life one day at a time.